So happy to have you here on the Phenomenal Future Project. I am streaming live, but you may be watching this at some other point, or I may have uploaded this video to another platform, and you might be watching it after the fact. I really appreciate that you're doing that. As you may know, I talk a lot about blockchain, NFTs, smart contracts, Web3, online marketing, all to empower artists to take charge of their careers and have really a lucrative, phenomenal future. That's what I'm all about. Today's topic, I'm going to dive right in, okay? And because I had to think of, I share a lot of things that are, that I'm going through, okay? Either that I'm learning around that space or some other larger life things that I think are worth sharing and give you a little bit of insight into the kind of trials and tribulations I run into that might be helpful for you, especially in your career. So I was thinking, with the headline here, for people that hate their current jobs, right? So let's say you have a dream for another type of career, owning your own business or being, a working artist and having a beautiful career from that. But right now you need that second job, or you need your main job to cover the bills and all that type of stuff, and you hate what you're currently doing. Well, there is definitely one thing not to do if you hate your job, okay? And that is, don't do this. Don't do this thing. What is it? Don't phone it in. Don't phone it in, okay? If you hate your job and you start slacking off, you start not performing because you're coming up with excuses. The boss is domineering and micromanaging, or the boss is never around. I never got the training that I needed to be able to do my job effectively. I don't get enough leads and you're a salesperson. The list can go on and on. You can blame the external world for, all of the problems that you have. And there may be some truth to the things that you're talking about. But I'm going to say this. If you slack off and you start phoning it in, okay, basically just going through the motions to get the paycheck, there's one person that will not forgive you, okay? The boss might chalk it up to all employees are lazy. The salespeople, the clients might hang up on you, all that kind of stuff. But the one person you can't escape from their judgment, and it's going to haunt you, is yourself, okay? It's easy to get used to being sloppy at things and then take that into your other career, okay? So if you're an artist, you're a musician, you're a painter, whatever, you're a writer, the discipline that you need to be able to do that, because no one else is going to be standing over your shoulder telling you exactly what you need to do and when you need to do it by, okay? That's one of the things about the job that you probably hate. Someone always telling you what to do. Well, there at least often what is measurable, and you can say I quote met expectations, right? The little checkbox on that quarterly or yearly review whenever you get it, exceeds expectations, didn't meet expectations, right? It should be measurable, okay? Well, that's the thing. When you're doing your art, it's really hard to measure some of that. Now, if you were a writer, I suppose you can say, I'm going to write 1,000 words a day. But the thing you really care about is having the audience read your work, right? So you could write 40 novels and even get them, published through, say, Amazon or something like that, and yet not make any sales and not have anybody reading your work. And that's unfulfilling too. So there are aspects to every job that we do, even the dream job, right, that where we have to do things that aren't the most fun. That is just part of what life is all about, right? We You need to wash some clothes because you need clothes to wear. It's probably a good idea to take a shower and brush your teeth every day, or something close to that, if you want to have good hygiene and have people not steer around you because of your stink breath, okay? Just being real here. We all have to do things that are just part of living a normal life. There are also just normal life aspects to any job you do. So for an artist, a painter, maybe you say you don't like selling. Well, it probably brings up fear. It probably because you don't think you're good at it, or because you have a story about it that's, something, slimy salesman or whatever, something in the past where you thought that was being a non-ethical person or something. Well, those are just stories, right? And going up against your fears, good thing. So I say when you're still having that day job, if you can do that and still shine in a job that you might say is soul-crushing, but you're still one of the best employees and you're getting the job done. There's something about that discipline when it is the most difficult that you can take to anything that you're going to do in your life. It's interesting. There are, I use the term phoning it in. I think, I heard it first when actors, you see some actors who are very well respected, might have won Oscars and all kinds of accolades and done amazing things in movies, but how is it that they suck in some movies? You could say that the script is bad. You could say that the other actors were bad, or that the director was domineering. It was a terrible work environment. They kept changing the script on you, and you didn't have time to memorize your lines. Again, all of these things may be somewhat true, but there are some actors out there that in the worst movie, you can watch it and go, wow, I mean, the movie sucked, but they were fantastic. So what is the difference there? Okay, some people can do it. We can all do it. All right. I think of Natalie Portman. Right, she's done some amazing stuff. Her first movie when she was 13, never had any acting experience before that I know about, was Leon the Professional, and she was phenomenal. Okay, and here are a couple of other roles that she's been in. I think this was Closer over here with the pink wig, and certainly Black Swan, and you could probably name a lot more. But if we kind of scroll down here and Attack of the Clones, she was about as wooden as you could possibly be. Now, yes, the lines were terrible, and acting on green screen can't be the easiest thing in the world. But I feel bad for her, but I also think that there. I mean, anybody that has this ridiculous hairstyle, like, that's got to be hard looking at that and acting in the scene, right? But it goes on and on, right? So there are probably many movies that you can name people. I think Nicolas Cage is certainly one of the best actors out there, but also one of the worst. I've seen John Malkovich just do the worst accent you could ever hear, like an English or an Irish accent or whatever, when I think he probably could do a better job. And so I say, no, rise to the occasion. If you can do the worst job, the one that you hate the most, and still shine, that you're gonna remember that too. Remember, I was saying earlier that the one person you can't escape, their judgment, righteous judgment is the person, right here, the one inside your head. When you're lying awake at night, and stressed out beyond belief, or worried, or wondering, how you're ever going to get out of that job or whatever, you're going to remember the times where you might have just done a really bad job and failed, and might have a lot of regret over that kind of stuff. And how we do one thing is how we do everything. And you never know who you're going to meet also in that job that you hate, that down the line might remember how awesome you were in such a bad situation. And that one person may be the key to unlock, that big break in your artist career. So, the flip side, they might remember how lazy you were and not want to give you that big break when the opportunity arises. Now, there was a point where I was working in a very technical field, software engineering stuff, and I was working for a large company, national corporation, does a lot of government contracts. I had a government contract, it was with Northrop Grumman, and at one point, it was my job to train a whole bunch of government employees, a lot of the dead weight actually, how to do what I do. Basically, teach them so that I would be out of a contract. Okay. Now that's okay. I didn't love that job. In fact, a government contract, being stuck in that kind of bureaucracy, and it was very difficult for me, totally against my sensibility. But here's a good example. Okay, there was one gentleman, and I felt sorry for this guy. Okay, there's this one gentleman who was clinically blind. I mean, he couldn't drive. He basically had tunnel vision, right? So we have a nice wide peripheral vision. His vision was literally, he could see a dot about yay big on a computer screen. And you can understand that when you're trying to do in this case, I was teaching them software quality assurance, where you've got to go through an application and test all of the different functions, and you need to see everything on the screen. And so the way that he would have to do that, he'd blow the screen up to massive size, and then he'd have to kind of roam around so that the little spot that he could see on the screen, little bits and pieces, like the button would be, like this big right there in his vision, but he couldn't see all of the fields where you would say have to enter data or anything like that. Very difficult, very difficult. Now, initially, when I started teaching everybody, it was extremely frustrating, and I felt that it was a waste of time. I felt kind of superior, okay? That's not a really good place to be. Now, I could have just laid back and done a shitty job, or taken my time and failed myself, right? And believe me, there were times when I really, really wanted to do that. There were times when I went home and complained, oh, woe is me, to my roommate at the time. But if you look at that type of situation as an opportunity, how can you see it as an opportunity? Okay? Reframe, basically. Not me as a victim, but me empowered. What can I get out of this? What can I get out of my video falling out? So the first thing is I could become a better teacher. I could become a better explainer. I could take more technical concepts and teach them in a way that people can absorb the material, and take it in stages so that I could kind of slowly expand their knowledge and understanding of what it was that they were being asked to do. That's number one, be a better teacher. Number two, some of these people were not the smartest people in the world. Some things come very easily to me, and I'm not afraid of reading, and I have very good focus. I don't have the ADD, ADHD, not all that kind of stuff. I have the ability to stick with something and stick with it for a very long period of time. So I absorb material well in a lot of different formats. I can listen, I can watch, I can read, all of that. So I'm lucky. Have a little bit of compassion and kindness then. I got to practice that, where maybe someone didn't learn in a certain way. PowerPoint slides and all that kind of stuff. I had to find another way to teach each individual, to what their strengths were. And really understand that they're being asked to, in many ways, these people, were probably towards the end of a career, and trying to learn something absolutely brand new at 50 is not always the easiest thing. Yeah, so there are many ways that we can look at something that we might hate. We might take a stance of hate, but hate doesn't really serve us. What can you get out of doing something well in the face of adversity? I mean, isn't that what sports are all about, right? You want to play teams that are as good as you. You're playing football against a team and you score 72 points to their 3. What is that useful? Does that make you any better? Does that make you grow? Does that push your boundaries and push your abilities and make you become a better person and have to dig in against adversity? Not at all. It's no fun. It's no fun to play against someone who you can beat with your eyes closed. Like if you're a chess master, same type of thing. You don't want to play with someone that just learned last week. It's absolutely futile to do something like that. You want strong competition because the whole idea is you want to get better. So in this case, that job that you hate, do it to the best of that you possibly can. Surprise the people that you work with. Come in with a good attitude and a smile. And when someone asks you to do something that seems inane, see if you can flip the perspective and see how you can come at that, and it allows you to work on different behaviors. And it allows you to see the world in a different light. Don't phone in your performance. Now, I may be a little bit harsh here with Natalie Portman. Like I said, would I have done any better in the Star Wars situation? I mean, from what I understand, Liam Neeson, who is also a phenomenal actor, he had such a bad experience on those film sets that he was thinking of quitting acting. And he probably took a break for a while because of it. So, yes, challenges, absolutely. But like I said, there are actors. And do we respect them more? The ones who never phone it in, who are in the worst movies ever. Terrible writing, terrible everything, and yet you can't help but love their performance. That's who you want to be, because that's inspiring. And that will keep your fans happy, and people will want to go out of their way to help you if they see that you're the type of person that never phones it in. Well, that's what I've got for today. Hopefully this was helpful. I needed to hear this myself because I have a challenge in my life right now where I have some external business stuff that is requiring a lot of my attention. And I had that little voice in the back of my head that was saying, oh, there's no sense in putting energy into that. It's futile to get the employees to do X, Y, and Z because blah, 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 blah. Yeah, as soon as I heard that voice, I had to check myself. And it's not easy because it's very simple to stand on our high horse and feel superior as a way to protect ourselves from having to take a chance and take a risk and possibly fail. I may fail with those employees, but if I don't try, I've already failed. So I'll leave you with that. I hope you have a phenomenal day or night wherever you are and whenever you are listening to this. And my phenoms out there, thank you for watching. I would love for you to subscribe or follow, depending on where it is that you are watching this. It really helps the algorithm, and when people are doing kind of organic searches for blockchain and NFTs and all that stuff for artists, it will help us show up in those searches. So that would be super helpful for me, but of course super helpful for all your fellow artists out there. Let's help each other. I think that's one way that we can really, I think, push the frontier of what these NFTs have to offer for you. Next time we'll probably talk more nuts and bolts when it comes to the marketing strategies and the technical aspects of blockchain and NFTs. But today I thought it would be nice to share this little snippet with you. Phenoms, I love you, and I will be recording tomorrow. Bye.